Hey everybody, welcome back to another amazing show of Real Estate Uncensored. We got an incredible guest, Miss Janice. She's going to talk about relationship marketing, how you can really build your business by being an actual human being. We have the evil bald ninja who's with us right now, but we're not going to talk to him right now because we have our countdown. Motherfucker, do your countdown. It's not good.
That was a mess.
Pause. Okay, we're going to skip the countdown. Hopefully someone can edit this thing. But whatever. We're having a great time.
Holy
Gene,
hell.
how are you, buddy?
What are you doing back there? My goodness gracious. What's like you? I don't. Oh my God. All right. Spell. We're going to do a spelling bee. Ready? Spell uncensored. Go. Cool.
It's called FU.
I can only joke with you because we're tight like that. Like, I know you tell people you're the dyslexic realtor. I know, right? We just had an argument for 15 minutes over the spelling of marketing. Right or wrong?
Okay, enough of the bullshit. Let's get in to have a wonderful conversation with Janice. Gene is going to beat me up because I'm dyslexic. I'm ADHD, and yes, I do screw things up. So
I will
let's
never,
get into someone who's
ever.
actually.
Listen, I will never beat you up. I only tease you because I love you. That's what I love about you.
Well, good. You know what? Here's something funny about this. But before we bring Janice in, I want you guys to see this. This is me and my hound dogger. And we both have bandages on our paws.
I saw this.
I was gardening and I cut the crap out of my hand, and he was a dumbass and chased too many balls in the dog park and got himself all cut up. But the thing is that when it comes to the dog park, I was there today, and the relationships you make, and this is what we're going to talk about in today's show. The relationships you make. I was there, and we were doing a doggo birthday party. A 2-year-old doggo birthday party. They brought cakes, they brought cookies, they brought coffee. I wish they brought whiskey, but they didn't. And it's about getting to know other people. So Janice Porter, welcome to the show. We have talked too much. Gene needs to shut up. But you know what? Thank you so much for being here. Let's talk about you. Let's talk about relationship marketing. Let's talk about how to build that. So welcome. Let everyone know who you are.
Thank you so much. You guys are a riot, and I'm happy to just sit and watch the show, but I'd love to talk as well. So thanks for the opportunity. I actually am physically in Vancouver, BC, Canada, but I work globally to anyone who speaks English, so it's all good. And I work with a lot of realtors, and I find realtors, Greg, please understand, I find them fascinating because there's so many different personalities, and they're not all relationship people, believe it or not. And so there's only a certain lane of realtor that actually will work with me because they get it. They get that building and nurturing relationships is important. And so those are the kind of people that I work with.
So walk me through something really quickly. When it comes to relationship marketing and everything else, and yes, I know several agents, and they are as about exciting as a plank of wood, right? and they get a lot of business. And I'm like, how in the mother blank do you get all of your business, right? I'm sure that they are appealing to certain folks. But I mean, let's say that you're just middle of the road human being. And you're like, oh my gosh, I'm getting into real estate. How in the stinking, what do I get, do I start working at my relationships? Because I know you do send out cards. I know you do several other things, but just break it down for us, so that Gene can get more business for himself.
So that's a great question, actually, because what happens is that a lot of people that I talk to, especially in your profession, will say, well, I'm just starting out. I don't have a lot of clients yet. So I'm not ready to build in a system such as send out cards, for example. And for those who don't know what that is, it's basically an online system of greeting cards and gifts at your fingertips that you can then send and nurture relationships that you have. And it sends real cards and gifts in the mail, actual snail mail. And we all know we're lacking personal connections these days. And that's one way to make that happen for people. But so those people that say, I don't have enough people to send cards to yet, I say, really? Because you don't have to wait until you made a sale. You have a conversation with someone, you build some rapport, and then you say, hey, and by the way, in your industry, I know you can find their mailing address really easily, but you can ask people too. And then you start a relationship by sending them a card. And maybe that card has an image of them or the two of you from a coffee meeting, or you've grabbed it off their Facebook or their LinkedIn and sent it with their card on the front saying, we celebrating you. And then your information is subtly on the back of the card. Not it's all about you on the front. It's all about them.
So Janice, can I tell you
first?
Sorry?
Can I tell you a story? I want to.
Go ahead,
sorry
Jim.
to bump you, Greg. This is right up Janice's alley as far as that goes. So I want to say that it was about, it could be 8 years now.
Janice, are you getting the feedback from him, or is it just me?
I'm not getting feedback. No.
Or is he coming through clear because he's frozen?
No, not frozen here.
Oh, so I'm the only reject. Copy that.
Copy that. All right, good. So hopefully this will come through clear. So I want to say it was probably about 8 years ago, and I had a business partner that I worked with in Virginia. And for some odd reason, I was down there. We were working together. And for some odd reason, we headed back towards where I'm at in PA, and we stopped in Maryland to meet his buddy, Rich Schott, right? And I say it like that because I talked to him one time, and it was that day. And I've never talked to him again, but I remember his name 8 years later. And when we were down there, he was actually in the Send Out Cards network, and he was explaining it to us. And I was like, it was early on in my marketing, right? So I was like, this is stupid. Who cares? I could care less about a card, right? And I go home and like I never said anything. I'm like, oh, that's great, no big deal. And then I literally get home, and a week later, I get exactly what you just said. It was a Send Out card from Rich. And it always looks like it's handmade, handwritten, and I think he even signed it. Mm-hmm. But on the front cover was a picture of us from that day. And I went, oh my God, how cool is this? Like I had already written it off as like, this is dumb. And when I got it, I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. And I remember his name 8 years later, only for that reason.
And that card, when you received it, took you from your head to your heart, right? Because the emotional attachment is seen. And I would guess in some cases, maybe not yours, but you would still have that card because it has you on the front.
You're probably right. In my case, I would be willing to bet I have it somewhere in some of the files. Like I probably didn't throw it out.
Yes.
But because if you saw my office, you would know I'm a wreck. But it's probably somewhere. I'll probably dig it out in 8 years when I'm cleaning it out.
Yeah. So that's a really good story because again, if that person was new in your life and there was some possibility that you're going to see them again, the relationship you want to build it, you can actually pre-program cards to go out and drip on people over time, as well as, do we lose Greg? Is that what happened?
We did. Yeah. Oh, yeah. He'll be back. And until then, it'll be me and you. Trust me.
Yeah,
we'll be
that's okay. And so, I think the best way to build and nurture relationships is to always make it about them and show that you're interested, show that you care. It's the little things that count, right? And so when people say to me, I don't have enough clients to send cards yet, I always question them on that. How many calls did you have today? How many prospecting meetings did you have today? You send a card to somebody before you get the deal, before you get the listing, you'll be the one to get it because you will have sent them a card and maybe some brownies, and you're over and above what 95% of the people will do.
So I love what you're saying, right? So, excuse me. So actually one of my business partners, Brian Offner, is actually watching from the beaches.
I saw that? Yeah.
He's a total relationship guy. And one of his big MOs is depositing wealth, health, love, and happiness into other people's worlds long before we ever do business.
Right.
And I think until I really met him and we really started to practice this on a regular basis together, I was always a practitioner of it, but never really realized it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think you're right. And I think when you said before, I don't have enough clients. I don't even think it has to start with clients, right?
No.
Like here's my thing. I come from a pretty big family. And I have cousins all over the place who I grew up with. Like when I talk about growing up with, I saw a meme today and it said, God made us cousins because they knew our parents couldn't handle us as siblings. Right. And we kind of started trouble like that. So we have the ties and the roots going all the way back. And I know if I sent one of them a card, they would stop what they were doing immediately, reminisce about all the things that went on, reach out to me, find out how I was doing what I was doing, and then go, wait a minute. I have a friend that just asked me if they know anybody that does marketing. How about if I connect you? Like, it doesn't have to be clients only, but like you said, and I want to offer you this too. And I'm offering it to you, but I want to ask you is really what I'm saying. Do you think that things like that like sending a card, taking the time out for a phone call, have more impact today because of the fast-paced nature of our social media and other things that are going on? What's the role do you think it plays?
Absolutely, because when we talk about snail mail and receiving things in our mailbox today, it's either junk mail or maybe the odd bill that you haven't put online, right? To pay online. So when you get a card in the mail, it's like, oh, this is exciting. What's this? And absolutely. And with what we've gone through in the past year or so, even more so, because we haven't had the physical contact. So getting a heartfelt card is really important. And I say, when you say to me, if someone says to me, well, I don't know who to send cards to, first of all, I have to teach them how to make it a habit. And by making it a habit, you want to send a card a day. And it doesn't matter. Who did you talk to today? Who came to your mind today? Who did you have a prompting that needed to hear from you today? I'm really upset that Greg has disappeared.
Well, so he and I, you'll see me as we're talking. He and I maintain communication behind the scenes, right? So he's saying, trying to figure out a way to get on my phone if you could keep the show going. Okay. So unfortunately for the listeners, they're not going to get Greg or Matt today. They're stuck with me. But,
and me. So there you go.
Well, I was going to say, having you here bumps up the game a little bit. So we're good.
Go. Yeah. So absolutely, I think getting a card in the mail today is even more important. And the younger people today, the millennials, the Gen Yers, all those younger folks, they like getting cards too, believe it or not. And the beauty of something like Send Out Cards, by the way, is that you can do it from your phone because we have an app. So you go and show somebody a house or go to a listing appointment, you go back to your car, you quickly sit in your car, take a picture of the house and send them a card. And boom, it's done.
It's done. So let me ask you, I don't know if I'm permitted to do this, but let me ask you of some of the other, like you're making me think of stuff. Like first off,
good.
Yeah, no, you got me going. And so one thing you'll learn about me is when I'm not really thinking through it and it's old hat to me, I just fly. You'll see, like right now, I'm just talking, I go fast. But when I'm really being poignant, and if you were in my office now, you would smell the smoke. But because you got me thinking, right? So I'm thinking of a bunch of different things, and I'm curious. I'm going to really put you on the spot here. So I'm going to drag the question out so it'll give you a minute to think. But what's one of the best things that you've received from somebody? So what I mean by that is, I think a lot of this just has to do with the simple fact that somebody slowed their day down to think about you, and they stopped what they were doing to engage in a card writing or a delivery that came to your house or a flower basket, something along those lines. That's what you said earlier, from your head to your heart, right? Like it touches me in a different space. This sounds awful. People are going to kill me for this. It touches me in a different space than just a text message would, let's say, right?
Oh, absolutely.
You're right. So I'm curious, Janice Porter, what is one of the best things that you can recall that you received where it really set you back? Because I have one.
Me personally, probably the thing that comes to my mind is that I do this for people all the time. Okay. So every day I send at least 3 cards. All right. So I'm always making an effort to make somebody else feel good about something or pay attention to something they've done. When I had, when my granddaughter was born, and I waited a long time to be a grandmother, and I was like I'm just so grateful that I have this beautiful little girl. She's almost 2 now. And when the people in my world that knew sent me cards with her pictures on the front, the baby, and all of the things that go along with it, that was probably the best thing for me. It made me cry when people did that, because it meant so much to me to have my granddaughter, and they knew that, and they took the time in their day to share that with me.
That's really, really neat. And I want to tell you something. I've been talking about this a little bit. And I just want to put it out there, because if somebody I have no benefit of passing this out, except I think maybe, here comes, oh boy, we're going to get what we asked for. We almost had 2 iterations of Greg there. Are you there?
No,
Greg, are you back? So listen, flip your phone horizontally, brother, like this. Go that way with it. So I'm just going to
do that.
Oh, it didn't change. Okay, I can wonder how come.
Because he was on first.
Yeah, I guess. So Greg, we're just going to finish out this thought, and then I'll let you jump back in here. So, I'll ask Greg this. I'll ask Greg the same question. So, Greg, we're talking relationships and sending people gifts and cards and all that stuff. From your perspective, is there something that was sent to you that really stands out above the rest? Is something where you get cards sometimes, and you get, just different things where you're like, oh man, that was so nice. But there was something that maybe came to your door where you were like, dude, that was amazing, and made you step back a little bit and really go out of your way to return the favor to that person or reach out to them. Is there anything like that you could think of?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, Gail Zentek, one of our good friends, she sent me a couple of cards that blew my mind from doing social media. She would, search me on social media and then, screenshot it and send it to me on a card. But she sent me a like a little tag, right? Like you hang it from a chain or something like that.
Keychain thing, right? A little, yeah.
And I actually, I was so impressed by it. I stopped wearing it because it got really annoying, but I wore it for about 2 years, and it was something that I stood back and I actually went and spent money on to actually improve it and wear it on my body for an increased period of time. I also had the first time I got a send out card or something relationship building basis, I had a gal send me a photo of myself on the front of a card. And I literally stepped back from my desk going like, what in the blank is that? And I was astonished by it, and I still keep it. And by the way, Send Out Cards does phenomenal stuff when it comes to cookies, just so you guys know. And this is not a pitch for Send Out Cards. I don't want you guys to get that opinion. This is just an opportunity that Janice and Jean and I all use. I mean, if Matt had a heart and it wasn't a little piece of black coal, and he would be on the show with us right now, he would use Send Out Cards too. But
he does.
But I mean, yeah, no, it is something that I use on a consistent basis. And the involvement on that, like the reactions, I have. When my mother passed away, not my mother. Sorry, God, knock on wood on that one.
Oh my, yeah, that was awful.
That was
I hope she's not listening.
God, I hope not. That was horrible. God,
oh my God.
My grandmother passed away about 4 years ago. I sent my mom one of those giant send out cards with pictures of her and her mom and her dad and her brothers and everything else, and they still have it on the mantle. When I have guests on that I have a personal connection with, I'll send them a send out card with a screenshot of the show. I do photos of clients' homes, and I send it to them or something on their social media.
That's a good one.
I walk into their house and it's on the mantle, guys.
Yeah.
Like, it's insane to build the relationship, because like Janice was saying, it's all about them, but then it's all about you on the back end, but it's not like blatant. You're not like, hey, buy from me, sell from me, or anything like that. You're just going like, hey, I care about you. I like what you're doing. I want to keep our relationship going and stuff like that. But yeah, that's something that I've been doing. And it's a lot of fun, by the way.
So if I could just go back to, there's different kinds of realtors, and there's realtors who, I've had clients that want everything automated. And I try to tell them that that's fine. You can do your touch points every quarter, or, so I've got a couple of realtor clients that we've divided their list into A, B, and C. And then each quarter, the A list, then 1 month they get the card, the next month the B list, and then the C list. So we're doing quarterly touch points with those past clients. But I try to tell them, and they don't all get it. That's fine. But the more important cards are what we call the heartfelt unexpected cards. And those are the ones that come from your Facebook pictures, or your conversations you've had with them, or your drive-bys to the house they really love. And you took a picture of it and said, this could be yours one day, that kind of thing. So those are the things that make it more important. Now, do you mind if I just segue to LinkedIn for a second? Because that's the other part of my business I'm connected to. Would you be okay with that?
Of course, do it. Yeah.
And then now I'm getting feedback, by the way.
Yeah, that's Greg's going to put his earbuds in right now. That's what's coming out of phone. Yeah.
Right. I'm getting yelled at by Gene.
I wasn't yelling. I was just letting you know.
So I teach people how to use LinkedIn to generate leads, or in the case of realtors, sometimes it's to generate new strategic or referral partners. Like it might be divorce attorneys or CPAs or construction owners, company owners, things like that they might get leads for you as a realtor to connect with. And so it's important that for a lot of people too who are realtors, they may not have their own personalized website. It might be a replicated website for the company that they work for. So it's important that they have a professional LinkedIn profile, and that because when people Google you, right, LinkedIn is indexed really highly by Google. So your LinkedIn profile will come up quite to the top. And so, especially if you don't have your own website, you have a replicated one. So that doesn't get the same kind of indexing. So when you are using LinkedIn, when you are trying to connecting with people there, sometimes my goal is always to take a connection from LinkedIn, move it through a couple of messages to taking it off LinkedIn to be now a new relationship that I'm building. I also use that for sending cards. I may say, hey, what's your mailing address, if you don't mind, because I love sending cards. I just tell them the truth, and they always give it to me. And so that becomes another tool for building relationships. That's what I wanted to share.
So a quick question, and Gene, how is my audio coming in now? Is it better?
There's no echo, but you don't sound great.
Now he's sad.
Well, you don't sound good either. So
I just mean from a clarity perspective, Greg. You know that.
I will hold on. I'm having a horrible tech day, guys. My deepest apologies. I know this is not the best, and Matt's going to yell at me. My tech team's going to yell at me, and I don't want to disrespect Janice and all her information. But
we'll just have to do it again.
There you go.
Huh?
We'll just have
We're
to
going to have to do it again.
I never have trouble knowing what to talk about, so we could always do it again as well.
Oh God, we're definitely going to have you back. Don't worry about that one. An idea for building relationships. What about taking your new listing, or your just sold, or any property in the area, and just doing 50 cars, 25 cars, 10 cars to local neighbors, and say, hey, look, we just sold a property. A property just sold. It sold for this much. You're interested in selling. Take a photo of the property.
Stop right now. I have a better idea for that, because that is something that you would do that either with a flyer or a postcard that you drop off at all the neighbors' houses. How about this instead? How about sending a card, like you said, to the the block or the ensuing, neighborhood, as many as you want to send. And each card says, "Hi, neighbor. I'd like to introduce you to the people who just bought 123 down the street from you. They know how much Mr. Smith loved his garden, and they have promised to take care of it as well, so you'll still enjoy it. Please, when you get a chance, go and say hi and introduce yourself," or something like that. I know that it's a different world today and people are a bit creeped out by some of it, but don't. And then on the back, of course, you're branding yourself as the realtor who sold them the house. So it's, rather than being about, hey, I just sold this house to these people, it's about, please welcome your new neighbors to the neighborhood. It's a different feel altogether. Which realtor would you work with if you got A or B, if you were going to sell your house? How do you feel about that?
I love that, actually. Obviously, we have to do it with permission from the new buyers, of course.
Yes.
But I love that
I
idea.
know that it's a card. It's not like an email. So it's a card,
Right, and you can even step it up a little bit more. Hey, me, Bob and Sue Smith. Very generic names here. And you know what? Hey, we're going to do a welcome to the neighborhood party on X date at X time. If you'd like to, come over, we'll have, burritos and beer, whatever, right?
Yeah,
Pick your favorite food. But it's just kind of a welcome to the neighborhood party. We actually do that.
Oh, that's nice.
We've done that very successfully for years. And
So
we hire a taco truck.
You've sent out cards to invite them?
Yeah, we send out cards.
Nice.
Yeah, 250 people in the vicinity or in a circumference around them, and then everyone comes over, their friends and family. We get their information. Then we're able to build the relationships with the friends and family of the people we just helped buy a property. Then we get to build to get information from the folks in the neighborhood, and it's all about building a database 100%. And I love how you're doing this, Janice. I think this is absolutely phenomenal.
You mentioned our mutual friend, Gail, and Gail has an amazing story about going to an event for the Chamber of Commerce. And it was something like the foods from around the world or something. And then these different restaurant owners had tables at this event. And she went to this one table. It was a fellow that owned a Greek restaurant. She probably told you this story. And she took a picture of him and then sent it to him in a card. And a little while later, he called her and said, "Hey, I think we met at the event. Thank you so much for the card. You're a realtor, right? I would like to talk to you about somebody in my family's coming to move here. I'd like to find a house for them," or something like that. The story's a bit vague for me now. But the long and short of it is that from that card that she sent to this brand new person that she met, she ended up with about 13 deals because all his family were coming to move there, and he had a big Greek family. So over the years, she did a lot of deals from that. So you just never know that the kindness and the real heartfelt caring that you put out there, what it's going to bring. And you put it out there, by the way, with no expectation. That's the key. Send out to give, not send out to get.
Yeah, a lot of people, I was telling the story off air, but I mean, in regards to I went to the dog park today, and I met up with a couple of friends that I hang out with all the time, and I want nothing from them, but at the exact same time, they all invited me to take part in the dog party. The 2-year-old dog party that they're having with coffee and cookies and everything else. And those folks were giving without asking for anything in return, and we all have a mutual interest in our hound daughters and letting them chase balls and interact and everything else. And for business, how would you correlate that in regards to giving without asking, and then having mutual respect for each other in regards to kind of what you guys want to do? So you want to sell a house, they want to buy a house. how would you do that without being salesy? Because so many people are salesy, and it really freaking sucks.
Yeah. Well, first of all, did you take any pictures of that dog party at the park?
I did, actually.
Good. Okay. See, that's the first step, is being proactive and being aware of the fact that you can now, if you these are friends of yours, if you can get their addresses, you can now put that dog party picture on the front of a card and send it to each dog that was there, right? And put you can do that. And so you're not, what you're doing when you're sending out to give is really just being top of mind, showing some interest in that person's world, without saying, hey, remember, you want to sell your house, remember to call me. You don't have to do that. You just have to be top of mind. I have a story of a friend of mine who over 15 years sold 3 houses as he bettered himself each time in the same location, and he used 3 different realtors. Why? Because not one of them stayed connected. I think that tells the story right there.
Yeah, it's true. I mean,
you guys probably don't remember this, but there's
you sound exasperated.
No, she just got me thinking. No, not exasperated at all. But Janice, go ahead. You were gonna
I was just going to say that you probably don't remember this show, either one of you, but there used to be a show on TV that one of the taglines was, there are 8,000 stories in the Naked City. This was just one of them. And I think it was called Naked City, and it was in New York, and it was a cop show. But that tagline, there's 8,000 stories, right? There's so many stories where just sending a card would have made such a big difference. Just showing that you appreciated, just showing that you were listening, right? So I know.
And also one other thing too I want to mention is that with the way that social media captures everything now, you have no excuse to not be able to pull something down from somebody. I mean, I could steal stuff of Janice probably all day that I could put on a card and send to her that would make her go like, oh, that was really thoughtful. Oh, I just spent 4 minutes browsing your social media and I stole one of your own pictures, but it looks cool, right?
Well, that's the point though, right? They're on public domain when they're on Facebook. So what I do is if I'm watching an umpteenth basketball game that my husband wants to watch because the playoffs are on, and I do love basketball, but I can't just sit. I got to multitask. So I'm going through Facebook and I'm saving posts, and then I'm going back and I'm pulling the photo, saving the image, sending a postcard or sending a flat card or sending a 2-panel card to someone. And I'm doing that every day. So I'm just putting it out there. You put out good vibes. What you send out comes back tenfold. So send it out to give. Don't have any expectations, and things happen. They do. And the law of reciprocity works. It may not be that person that comes back. It might be somebody else, right? But, in the real estate business, it's so cutthroat. There's so many people. You have to stand out from the crowd. And what I see every day when I go driving, well, I don't go out every day anymore, but I see these people spending $1,000 a month on being on the back of a bus. I have never quite understood that. I can't, and they say, oh, my marketing budget's shot and I can't send cards to people. Seriously, it's not about you. It's about them. I said that earlier, right? And so I'm always flabbergasted by that.
Yeah, that makes 2 of us 100% for sure. We have a hard stop. Gene has a beautiful young daughter that he's going to go pick up from school so she doesn't get abducted by weirdos. And we never wish that on anybody. Janice, you have dropped hammer on us. We're going to bring you back 100%. I love what you're talking about. My internet sucks right now, and I'm going to get a better computer with better internet. It's actually sitting behind me. My girlfriend's going to let me use hers because the one I'm using is 10 years old, which is retarded. That is a problem. But I want you to let everybody know where to get a hold of you so that when they want to reach out and learn how to do relationship marketing, who to talk to. So where should they go? Is there a course? Is there a product? I mean, let us know a little bit about that.
Absolutely. They just have to reach out to janiceporter.com. and they can reach me from there. They can reach out to LinkedIn, find me there. It's easy to find me on LinkedIn, and send me a message. And I'd really like to offer your audience, if I could, the opportunity to send a free card on me if they want to. And to do that, they just have to, did I put it in the chat or?
Well, you know what? We'll have our producer do. We'll put it in the show notes so
Okay.
that we can get that squared away behind the scenes. But
Okay, so basically,
so that you can put that link in there.
Okay, so basically, I would just have them go to sendoutcards.com/Janice Porter. They start to go through the process and send a free card on me, and then they can see what it's all about.
Okay, fantastic. Gene had to bounce. He's going to go pick up his beautiful daughter. Since he is no longer here, Janice, you have a very important job right now, okay? You need to pick a color that we're going to put on the bow for the show. So whatever color comes to your mind, what would it be?
It would be like a blue that is on my website. It's kind of a mid-range blue, lighter than navy blue, not quite as light as the blue here. And I can send you the color if you want.
Okay, so we're going to put, guys, we are going to put a mid-range blue on the bow for the show. Janice has been insanely awesome. What an intelligent woman. Thank you for coming on the show, guys. I want you to go to everywhere that you guys listen to podcasts. I want you to give us a 5-star, not a 2-star review. I want you to, obviously comment and hashtag Janice on this. Follow her on all of her platforms. Go find her on LinkedIn. Get a part of her world so that she can help you get get going on your relationship building. And in the comments below, we're going to have the link attached to it where you can go get a card on her, where you guys can send something up and get, just kind of get a taste of what she's building. But without you guys, we couldn't do it. So I love you guys to pieces. You're literally incredible human beings. I'm on my phone right now, so I don't know how I'm going to end this thing, but I'm going to try to end this thing. But until next time, guys, peace out, ninjas. We gone.